Hello, welcome to Faith Coaching with Coach Renee. We are going to do a topic today that may ruffle a little feathers, so be ready. You see, my favorite leader was not always PC. In fact, sometimes he was quite the opposite. He ruffled a lot of feathers. But again, he was my favorite leader. So today we're going to be doing a faith coaching out of Luke 11, verse 37 through I think like 52. And did you know that what you cannot see, actually matters? That not everything has to be perfect. Isn't that a relief? It's like, yay, okay, perfect. I don't have to be perfect. So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about why that is. You see, sometimes we are afraid to do, as leaders, social media. We're afraid to show up because our lives are not perfect, because maybe outside that door, there are teenagers that are having issues. Maybe outside the house, we have other things going on that are an issue in our life. Maybe our finances are not perfect. Perhaps our friendships are a wreck. Or maybe we just didn't put on makeup today and we're in exercise clothes. Not that I'm talking about myself or anything. And we figure, you know what? Nobody wants me to show up this way. I can't be a leader this way. But there are actually more important things going on than every detail of our life that people can see on the outside. So let's go ahead. I'm going to read to you out of Luke 11:37. It says, as Jesus was speaking, one of the Pharisees invited him home for a meal, which was really nice, right? Like that was really cool, Pharisee. Thanks for inviting Jesus for a meal, right? So Jesus goes and he went in and took his place at the table. And his host was amazed to see that he sat down to eat without first performing the hand washing ceremony required by Jewish custom. See, basically, here's Jesus at this Pharisee's house where he was invited. And imagine if you were invited to somebody's house and they had certain rituals. Wouldn't you go along with it? I'm just being honest. I probably would in most cases. I just would. You know, if I'm in a person's home, a friend of mine that has certain customs, maybe it's different country customs, I normally just go ahead because I'm respecting what they would want to do, right? Well, this is not what Jesus did. Basically, he totally ignored the customs. And then the Lord said to him, so Jesus said, you Pharisees are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and wickedness. Fools, didn't God make the inside as well as the outside? So clean the inside by giving gifts to the poor and you will be clean all over. Ouch. Okay. All right. So yes, I said he's my favorite leader and I said he's not exactly PC, but let's just be really honest with each other here. Any of you listening think, hey, Joey, how's it going, girl? Any of you listening think that you would feel comfortable saying that to your host? I mean, I wouldn't. There's no way. I'd be like so embarrassed. Whew. All right, Jesus, what you teaching us here? Well, here's what he's teaching us. You see, Jesus could see the hearts. He knew what was going on with these Pharisees. He knew exactly what they were thinking. They were there to judge everybody else. And he was there to get rid of that. He was there to speak truth. He wasn't there to sit there and socialize and have a nice meal and make himself look good because he's hanging out with the top people. No, he went and hung out with those top people, but he told them where it's at. And he was saying that they are not where it's at. Ouch. So when he says that cleaning the inside by giving gifts to the poor and you'll be clean all over, do you know what he's talking about? You see, so many people have taken this out of context, and as leaders included. So we want to be very, very careful that we do not read into this in the wrong light. You see, Jesus is not saying that if you go and you buy lots of stuff for poor people, then you're going to be clean all over and everything's going to be good. No, he's talking about that greed and that wickedness. He's talking about their heart condition. They were so worried about themselves. They were so worried about how they showed up in the world and what other people thought of them that they didn't care about the poor. They didn't care about other people. They didn't care about actually being leaders. You see, leaders are there to care about the people who they're leading. They're not there because they want to be there. They're there because they want to make a difference. So ask yourself right now, if you're watching this, most likely you are some kind of a leader. And you might be thinking, actually, no, Renee, I'm not a leader. But guess what? You are. You are either a leader of a family, you're a leader of a friend, you're a leader as a neighbor, you're a leader in your office or in your business. You might even be a leader here on social media, but you're a leader in some way. You may not always show up like it, but hey, no, none of us do. We're all in a work in progress. So when you are thinking about leading and being a good leader, wow, you wouldn't want Jesus saying this too, right? I know I wouldn't. That's not what I want to be known as. I want to be known as somebody who is a good leader, who cares about other people. But the Pharisees weren't doing that. They were trying to dress up all nice on the outside and do all the proper customs and follow every single rule. He goes on to say, "What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees, for you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens." That's kind of funny. Isn't he kind of ironic sometimes? "And yet you ignore justice and the love of God. You should tithe, yes." So he's not saying it's bad to tithe, even from your herb gardens or from your eBay or whatever else you make money by. "But do not neglect the more important things." So do you hear this again, friends? The more important things are people. The more important things are what he has set before us. That's not the face looking in a mirror. It's not our own reputation, even though it is important to uphold the law, and he's not minimizing that, but he's saying that we don't do it just for the fact of trying to look good. We do it because we want to have love for God and justice. He goes on and says, "What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees?" Again, "for you love to sit in the seats of honor in the synagogues and receive respectful greetings as you walk in the marketplaces." Have you seen leaders like that? Where they're, even some pastors, where they're the ones that are like, "Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh, so good to see you." And really they're just like, "I'm so glad that you're so glad to see me." Yeah, that's not what he's looking for, is he? He says that, "Yes, what sorrow awaits you, for you are like hidden graves in a field that people walk all over them without knowing the corruption they are stepping on." Oh my gosh, think about a grave. It stinks, right? Like it's good for nothing really, because the person's already gone. The remains are just dust. And yet the corruption that's in there doesn't really go away. People are stepping on it. People are not noticing it, or so they think. And yet God notices. He sees what is going on. See you, Joy. So good to see you, girl. He goes on and says, "Teacher," or actually, I'm sorry, another person in the religious law says, "Teacher," and he was an expert in religious law. "You have insulted us too in what you just said." So yeah, Jesus was insulting people, obviously. "Yes," said Jesus, "what sorrow also awaits you experts in religious law." So he's like, let me just feed you some more of this. Let's just keep going. "For you crush people with unbearable religious demands, and you never lift a finger to ease the burden. What sorrow awaits you." And he continues on. I'm going to skip down to verse 52 because he goes on and on and on, sharing with them of their time what they were doing wrong, how their heart condition was not right, how they were just being a leader in order to basically serve themselves and make themselves look good. And gosh, Jesus was just like, that is not where it's at. So then he says in verse 52, "What sorrow awaits you, experts in religious law, for you remove the key to knowledge from people. You don't enter the kingdom yourselves, and you prevent others from entering." Okay, that right there, my friends, this is what really, really, really gets me. This is where we have to be so careful. You see, we're not only dealing with our own lives. When we get selfish, when we get greedy, when we are not following the Lord, when we're not seeking him, it affects other people. It affects other people's lives, especially if we've been called into any kind of leadership. Whether it's, like I said, you could be a leader of a family, you could be a friend that's a leader. You can be someone who's a leader in an office, but we all have influence. And that is what this is about. It's influence. Hey, Andy, good to see you. But we have influence because God has given us influence over somebody. None of us live on deserted islands, or else you would not see me right now because you would have no Wi-Fi. All right. So we all have some kind of influence. Right now, I'm sharing influence with you. I don't see myself as some amazing leader or someone who is some influencer like you might be thinking of Gary Vee or these other people. You might be thinking, oh, Billy Graham, he's a leader. But friends, you are called to be a leader. These experts in religious law were called to be leaders. And when they overstepped their bounds and when they made it about themselves instead of about the people that they served, they actually prevented others from entering the kingdom. Okay, do you see how important this is? That's not just about what we see on the outside. It's about what's in here. It's about what's going on in our hearts. And we do not have to have perfection. Please hear me. Do not hear me saying that Jesus is saying that unless you give everything to the poor and unless you follow every law, but you also make sure that you always have the right motives and you always are perfect. He's not saying that. He's saying that you aren't going to be perfect. But what is most important? He said, ignoring the love of God is what is awful. You should not neglect the more important things. We need to put God first in our lives, especially as leaders. We need to see what he sees. We need to see what it is, not just on the outside. See, humans see on the outside, but God can see inside. We need to see inside other people in such a way that we are able to use our influence for him in their lives. We are conduits. That's what we are. So, of course, I'm speaking here to other believers, and I hope that this is also helpful for those of you who may not be a follower of Jesus, because his teachings, wow, don't they blow you away? But I'll tell you what, he is the Son of God in my book, and I want to be just like him. That's the kind of leader I want to be like. And I'll be completely honest, I am scared. I'm scared to go out and talk the way he did. And maybe that's not the way he's calling me to right now. I hope not, because just saying, yeah. But I'm going to speak his words. I'm going to do the influence he's called me to. I'm going to read from his word. I'm going to share it. I'm going to put it out there. So if this has touched you in some way, or if you know somebody who needs to hear this, share this with them, because it's not my words. This is coming from my Bible. This is coming from the Word of God. All right, friends, if you are in a place right now where you are struggling to be a leader because you don't know how to act, we live in a really crazy world where we don't always have people that understand. We don't have people that we can practice around. We don't have people that are looking beyond the outside to see what's in here. So if you're looking for a community like that, if you're looking for a place where you belong, even when you're not perfect, if you're looking at a place where you are able to be who you were created to be and practice doing what God designed for you to do, then I offer for you to check out this community right here called the Winner Circle. Go to bealifewinner.com, check it out. And we would love to have you take part in an amazing community that is focused around making progress, accountability, and being who we're created to be. So I'm telling you right now, regardless of where you are, be a leader that cares about more than what's on the outside. Care what's about the inside. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. Go be who you're created to be. Do what God's designed for you to do. Don't back down even when it's scary. And win at life, you will make an impact in this world. Take care, friends.